What's your take on some of the apologetics that might be a little rough around the corner? I just sat down with some apologists who specialize in Islam, and there's some apologetics out there who you'd be burning the Quran or you'd be flushing it down the toilet, not to name any names or anything like that, but really doing apologetics in a way that's really rousing or getting attention. What's your take on some apologetics out there that have that defense of the faith, but might not have the gentleness and respect portion of it?
Welcome to the Revo Report. We're inspiring faith with reason and reason with faith.
Yeah, I would say read the verse again. I would say let's major in gentleness and respect rather than the other side. Because here's the thing is, if I look at the gospel, if I look at the faith as a lion, I don't need to defend it. I just need to unlock the cage. Now, the gentleness and respect is where I unlock that cage. Where I don't want to unlock that cage and loose the lion of the gospel on people who are actually have a respect and honor for the fact that, hey, that's a lion. Now, I don't know what that lion's capable of. I don't know whether this lion's tame. I don't know whether he's declawed. I don't know any of that. But I know a lion when I see one. And this, what you're talking about, these apologists who speak in the Islam world, I'll give you a prime example. We have a guy, one of our adjunct speakers, who specializes in interfaith dialogue within the Sikh community. And I had him on a podcast and we had a conversation. And he said, Troy, you'd be shocked if you were to go with the traditional evangelism that some people have taught. Let's go into a gurdwara, a Sikh temple, and speak with one of the, I'm forgetting the term right there, one of the gurus, for lack of a better term. And you were to share your faith, and you were to be like, oh, no, that's okay. What you believe is what you believe. And I think that it's okay let's agree to disagree. They would walk out on you like, man, your faith is weak. What has gripped the hearts of Sikhs is an intensity.
Passion, certainty.
If there's no passion in your faith walk, then I don't believe it's true, because I'm passionate about what I believe. I'm here following these religious expressions and timelines and doing everything that I'm supposed to do because I'm devout. I believe it. But many of our Christians think gentleness and respect has to do with being soft, gentle, and timid. Like gentle being like, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. What are we talking about? If you don't ruffle feathers, you don't see what someone's made of. You don't see it, right? And I do think there is a measure in which, man, I'm intensity. I'll stand 10 toes down that I believe Jesus Christ is Lord, and I'm more than okay with you disagreeing that. You're like, you can share what you want. I am on the side of, I don't need to know every single theological, doctrinal belief system, understanding, ideology, have all the framework scientifically. You will not knock me off my faith. That's just because I have tasted and seen the goodness of God in the land of the living, period, point blank. So I'm okay with not knowing everything. Like anyone who listens to me on the AC podcast, I may not respond to this the way Wes does. I may not respond to it the way Andy or Steve or any of our other colleagues, because I didn't study what they study. I don't know anything about manuscripts other than what I've learned from Wes, nor do I think I need to know to have a strong faith in the Lord or be gifted enough to articulate. Right? Because again, in scripture where it talks about they didn't go to the schools that we went to, yet we can see that they have been with Jesus. That's it. So for these people that feel like, man, I got to burn the Quran. I'm sorry. I don't agree with that. It's not for me to go and say whether or not this is right or this is wrong. Right? Because again, I've said, yes, burn every idol, right? Burn your idols. But here's what you are doing. I will say this as someone who is evangelized in, say, the art space. The moment I do that, I have isolated myself and other believers, unfortunately. For the person who pops up, and this may be my first introduction to Christians, I'm like, oh, this is what all Christians believe? Because contrary to popular belief, even though it's 2025, not every single person from another belief system has ever met another Christian. But do you know the ones they're going to see? The ones who get clicks and views. They're the ones. So this guy burning a Quran, I'm like, geez Louise, man. Now for these people that may be in another country currently who may be in another demographic currently evangelizing, now you've just made their job harder. Because here's the thing. You're sitting behind a camera in the safety of your house. Go burn a Quran on the site of one of these places and see what happens to you. And now you want to call yourself a martyr? I'm sorry, Stephen wasn't looking to be stoned the way he was. You know what Stephen's message was? He was retelling the gospel. He retold the gospel and ended with, this is the story of the Jesus you crucified. And then they stoned him. And as he is standing there, he says, Lord, do not count this sin against them. What? Right? He was retelling the story of the gospel. He didn't go there and start burning scrolls. The disciples, they knew what they were signing up for because the Lord told them how they would die. They were all explained in some capacity how they would die. Like, you're going to go through what I went through. I hope you're ready for that. This is your way out. I hope you know what you're signing up for. And I just, man, when I think about loving God. That's a
good point. The Bible is provocative enough, right? The gospel is provocative enough.
It is enough. I don't need you to burn Bibles. I don't need you to do that. You look at the prophet Elijah on the mountain, like with Jezebel. What does he do? He doesn't say, bring your stuff. He says, worship your God, and we'll see what happens. You worship your God how you worship your God. I'll worship my God how I worship my God, and we'll see what happens. Now, was he bold and confident? Yes. Yeah. Maybe your God is sitting on the pot. Where is he? But he said, go ahead, worship right in front of me. I am not moved because I believe this deeply. And he saw what happened. So what would happen if these YouTubers, these people that want to go and do these things were to say, go ahead and worship God the way you worship your God in today's times. We'll see who has peace. We'll see what comes to pass. What would happen if this Muslim person, you find this Muslim person who's dying of cancer, and this Christian finds out, hey, I'm going to pray and intercede the way I pray and intercede. You do your stuff and let's see what happens. And this gets back to what we were talking about. A minor miracle leads to a greater miracle. So if this miracle happens where Jesus heals this person, that the Muslim diviners or whatever, I don't really know what they have in that capacity, but these diviners, these doctors doing all of the things, the religious practices they have for healing, I imagine there's something that doesn't work. But by the power of Jesus and the Holy Spirit, this person gets healed. I think that might have a greater, more positive impact than me burning your Quran saying Jesus Christ is Lord. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I want to, you and Wes have been with Apologetics Canada for a while now, right? At least a few years. Wes comes off really chill. He's incredibly intelligent, but he just comes off really chill and with a great sense of humor. From how you would describe him, what is Wes like?
Man, Wes is a humble guy who loves the Lord and just loves his family. I'm telling you, he's a humble guy who really doesn't care that deeply what people think about him. He at the forefront of Wes's heart, especially outward facing with Apologetics Canada and the work he does within his own platform. I don't want people to think I know it all, but what I do know, I want to share with a gentleness and respect. Like he is a very learned, articulate guy but is very compassionate, even in moments like take, for example, this whole thing with Billy Carson that happened. How many things he could have said about Billy Carson? How many even in that quote unquote debate, he could have said, what are you talking about? Because I know many of us on the other side of the screen were thinking that, saying that, is this guy out to lunch? He could have done that. But but like we were saying, he understood the platform and opportunity he was being given. And I believe that because of the way Wes handled that, if you're trusted with little, the Lord will give you much. Because he honored Billy in that platform while Billy said things about the devout faith he has in Jesus and the education, the actual time Wes has spent to become the scholar that he is in his own right. He didn't go and flex his scholarship. He just said, tell me why you believe that. Please explain that to me. He asked the right questions. And in asking the right questions, Billy exposed and incriminated himself. Wes didn't go there saying you're an idiot. He didn't go there saying you don't know what the heck you're talking about. He didn't do any of that. And that's really the kind of guy Wes is. Like Wes is, I'm happy to call him a friend and colleague. Like we're constantly cracking jokes. Like me and Wes, we were doing an event called the Leadership Summit. And we had one of our interns with us on this road trip, and it was about 3 hours away. And then our filmmaker. Me and Wes probably did like impressions in different voices for 3 hours, right? We didn't spend 3 hours talking about how are we going to dunk on the next guy? How are we going to maximize your platform? We just made stupid voices for 3 hours and had the time of our lives. And that is why I love Wes. Like he is active in his church, faithful to his community. Wes he comes off of a big podcast, goes home and runs a Bible study in his house, loves his family, loves his wife, takes care of them, is constantly not taking gigs because he wants to be in home. He
Mhm.
wants to be with his
Mhm.
family. He doesn't want to be on the road with every single amazing. If I were to tell you some of the opportunities Wes has in his DMs that he texts me about
Oh
all the
yeah, I
time,
bet.
and he says, I can't do it because I want to be home with my family. The
Mm.
average person is, I'm dropping everything. I'm going. Are
Oh,
you kidding me? This is a once in a lifetime. Wes is like, yeah, this is once in a lifetime. My daughter could say her first word today. My kids are
wow.
learning the alphabet. Like he's just a very humble guy who knows a lot and is nerdy in all the best ways.